Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the third and final season of Having a Ball. Yeah, that bad news coming up in this episode. As you'll see, it will likely be the last season. It won't be the last episode. We're counting on that. And so there's bad news coming up, but if I bring it all out right now, you're just all going to stop watching the episode.
You think so?
Probably.
Okay.
So we'll cliffhang the really bad news.
As you can see, this is the first ever live episode. We're in the same room. That's me, him touching me. I'm touching him, you know.
Yeah, he's here in Switzerland, and as you can see...
Touching his ball, even.
As you can see, we're not in our usual locations of my parents' house, his apartment, or my kitchen. Mm-hmm. We're in the hospital Portalaise in Neuchâtel. We've gladly been loaned this room to film in.
It's even more complicated rigging up a film studio than it is to rig up an operation, just so you know.
Apparently, but at least I get to stay awake for this.
Yes, that's nice. You might fall asleep during the episode.
Possible. I was going to say I didn't take any drugs, but...
You're filled with drugs.
Right out of frame here is a drip of fentanyl, giving me fentanyl nonstop every day, all day. So I do have drugs.
Yeah. I
said we're in Portalaise Hospital. Mm-hmm. Some people might not get where that is because last time we were talking about the Chouve. Portalaise is the Neuchâtel Hospital. The Chouve is in Lausanne, the University Hospital. And we're going to backtrack a bit because that's where it started about a month ago. Well, it started. That's where we were about a month ago.
Have you always had a cheat sheet? Or is it just today?
I've usually had it on my computer. Uh-huh. There's not much on it. It's just a few notes, a few little things that I want to vaguely remember to say.
Fair.
But so yeah, I was going to the Chouve and going in for a new kind of chemo called Gemox or Gemox, which sounds to me like a Pokemon.
And that was the fourth type of chemo, right?
The fourth type of chemo, first type of Pokemon. I know nothing about Pokemons.
So you can! Isn't that like a Pokemon ball-ish?
Probably not. I think our viewers would tell you that's just like a ball. Oh. But I don't know. But I guess I don't know much about Pokemons, but they like evolve.
I don't know.
And get stronger.
It's something about a ball. You throw a ball.
Oh,
we should know.
We should know it's a Pokeball, but I do think they evolve and get stronger.
Isn't that a Pokeball? Isn't that like food?
Yeah, what do I know? I do think they get stronger, but I guess mine Gmox didn't evolve because as you'll see, it didn't work as well as possible. But anyway, I went in for this chemo and it was a simpler chemo. I was an outpatient, just go in the morning, get 1 or 2 drugs pumped into me and go home. Mm-hmm. I did that, and it's funny because they always warn of the side effects. It's mostly the same side effects. And this time they warned, and it was not like this might happen. It was sort of it will happen. They said, watch out for cold. You'll be really, really sensitive to cold.
As in any cold?
Yeah, but as in they said, don't take a drink out of the fridge. It'll be really, really painful to drink. Uh-huh. And they said, even if you're just getting something out of the fridge, put gloves on.
Really?
Or get someone to do it for you, which sounded unlikely to me.
Yeah,
but
exaggerated.
I'm not an idiot, so when I got home, I took some iced tea out, was very careful out of the fridge. No problems on my hand. I then held it, no problem. Made myself a glass. It was nice and refreshing, so that went fine for me. Mm-hmm. And then I had a couple of days where I felt kind of shitty, but not too bad. I had nausea and I had my back pain, shoulder pain was back, but it was not too bad. And lasted only for about 4 or 5 days, I guess. Mm-hmm. Same time, because I wasn't eating much. The nausea, I don't know about you. When I'm throwing up, I don't feel like eating.
Oh, you don't?
No.
That's not your thing? Fair? And you've been throwing up a lot.
Well, I was then. By the way, that wasn't done on purpose. My hat just fell off. As you can see, it's a nice, fresh-made, having a ball.
Straight out of the...
baseball cap, I believe, or is it a snapback?
Straight out of the merch department. Very nice.
Very nicely stitched here, as we can see. I'm not going to do the whole QVC thing, though. So anyway, remember to go to our website, check out the merch. There's lots of cool stuff. Buy it and help solve cancer.
Yeah, and we're releasing new products now for season 3.
Absolutely, and we will pretty soon. I don't know. I don't think we've done the math yet on how much we've actually made.
Ish.
Ish what? Can we give a number, or is it too early?
It's a 4-figure euro figure.
4-figure euros, which is pretty good.
Yeah, we're growing. And
so we're hoping to donate that soon. We got to.
And somebody told you the other day that they saw someone on the street.
Yes, a friend of mine's daughter said it was the first time it was in Neuchâtel, where we have lots of fans. But in the space of 15 minutes at the train station, she saw 4 people wearing Having a Ball merch.
Which is awesome.
Which is absolutely awesome. And so yeah, I went into the Shuv for the chemo, did this first chemo sitting there, had my mom and brother, well no, just my mom. My mom was there all day with me. Then I went in to see the dietitian, who basically said, well, you're not eating, so you're losing weight, that's normal. I tried to figure out what I could eat. She basically said, eat more mayonnaise.
That was the order?
One of them, she said, anywhere you put olive oil, use butter instead.
Okay.
Add ham to your food.
Rum ham?
Rum ham. Rum ham. I would love to add rum ham. That's on my bucket list of things to taste, I think.
Was there anything you wanted to eat, though?
Not really. Well, when I left the first chemo, I wanted to eat a Five Guys. And I did. And it went pretty well.
That's a burger chain, by the way.
And I went back to my place, not even to my parents. I had a few days of okay time. I had friends over to play cards. I mean, I didn't go walking in the woods or leaping in the lake, obviously.
As you do.
Yeah. I just hung out at home, played on the PlayStation quite a bit. Didn't do much. Wasn't feeling great. I was feeling better. And then I went back in for chemo number 2, which was supposed to be 2 of 5 chemos, GMOX. In
rounds of the 4th type of
exactly.
chemo. Round number 2.
That's what I should have said.
Round 2 out of 5.
Round 2 of 5 of this 4th chemo. And my good friends who you've met, Camille and Marianne, came to pick me up. Since we had to go to Lausanne, they came at 6:30. I had a terrible night, like terrible. I could not sleep. My back pain was up to 11, basically. The drive over there, I was not great. But then we got there and they were allowed to stay in the room all day with me, and we had a good day. If you can say, I was there getting chemo, but we had a good day. We had some laughs. We hung out. We talked about stuff. We had some drinks. I mean, non-alcoholic drinks, obviously. Had a cup of tea, had whatever, and I felt pretty good. And this is when I told the nurses, I was like, oh yeah, remember you said about the cold? To be careful? And she said, yeah. I was like, I drank a milkshake at Five Guys when I left. I did listen and take a small sip first to see if it would freeze me, but I was like, it was fine. The milkshake was good, and I told her about, put my hand in the freezer, held something. All the nurses went, you're crazy. Don't do that, you're crazy. I was like, they said it can really be bad, the pain. I was, okay, I will be careful this time, because as I say, it was like, really, this is going to happen. And then it was the end of the chemo. I just went to the bathroom, washed my hands. Just walking back from the bathroom with damp hands, you know, you walk like this and your hands dry. Yeah. They felt cold. I was like, ooh.
So it started.
That's colder than it should be. And then when Marianne drove me home, I had a glass of drink from the fridge. No, not from the fridge, room temperature drink. It felt like it came from a very cold fridge. So I did not try to drink a milkshake again, because as I was told, it could sort of tighten up your neck and make you feel like you're
So it just took a few days, and then...
And this only lasted a few days.
Winter came.
Yeah, but the winter only lasted for 3 days. I tried every day, because I really like drinking cold beverages. Which was all right here, because they tasted cold, even though they weren't. But then after about 3 days, it came back to normal, and I could drink normal things. I didn't try ice cream again. I did make myself some frozen fries and froze my fingers as I took them out of the bag.
What the hell is frozen? Oh, before you cooked them.
Well, yeah.
I thought you made frozen fries, because I want to try that. Anyway.
Is that a Norwegian thing?
Maybe.
You just take a potato out of the ground and cut it up and eat it?
Yeah.
Frozen fries.
Frozen fries.
Yeah, no.
All right.
And so yeah, then Camille and Marianne drove me home. And that was the beginning of 4 or 5 days of hell.
I feel like you've been through hell a couple of times.
Yeah, not back yet though, is the problem. But that was really bad. I really had terrible, as you can see, I'm sort of moving around weirdly. It's because I have these
heat packs.
Heat gel packs in my back that help a bit. The fentanyl sort of helps, but not as much as I'd like.
So did we mention the fentanyl at the top of the show?
We did. So I have this fentanyl, and I'll just go into it very briefly. The idea is to find the right continuous dosage where I just don't feel pain all day.
Yeah.
At the moment, they give me a continuous dosage. It's not quite enough. I still have to ask for boosters every once in a while, and probably as soon as this episode is finished, or before, depending on how long it lasts.
But immediately, once it starts wearing off, you're in excruciating pain.
Not immediately excruciating, but I can feel right now the pain coming back.
Fairly quickly.
And it was, yesterday or the day before, I would be in a ball on my bed crying, waiting to get my next shot.
Yeah.
And literally, I'm not exaggerating, it was excruciating pain. debilitating, you can't do anything. And then they come with the fentanyl, and 10, 15 minutes later, you're like, I can feel it getting better. I go, oh, relief. So it does work. They just haven't found the dose that it works continuously.
So I've tried really hard to get you to call fentanyl awesome sauce, but I'm not there yet.
Awesome sauce. It's not here. When they get it strong enough, I'll start calling it that.
Cool.
And so then I was at home, and really this was a period of very little sleep, back pain that sort of moved around. There was the bottom of the back pain that really reminded me in a bad way of when I started out with cancer last year. Mm-hmm. When I started going out with cancer. When we were still in the honeymoon period.
Took her out dating.
Exactly.
Drinking and dancing.
And so, there was a lot of pain, very little sleep, a lot of vomit, even though I wasn't eating. So this disgusting bile, sorry to talk about that. And
part of the experience.
We said we'd go to the end. That's also why we're doing these episodes.
That's true.
The idea was to continue going. But vomit pain, my sheet right now, the note is just vomit pain, vomit pain, vomit pain. So after a few days of that, my mom actually called the hospital because I was too out of it and didn't feel like it on my bed. I knew I should, but I didn't want to. She called, and the on-call oncologist, which I still find to be a funny word.
And that is funny.
The on-call oncologist highly, highly suggested that I get myself admitted to the hospital. Uh-huh. And that it would be needed because I needed to be surveilled better, be watched better. And so, much against my will, well, not against my will, but I didn't want to because I knew they were going to have me go to the hospital. I've spent already,
seemingly years.
80 days in the hospital in 2022, I think, or 90. And so I really didn't want to go, but I called the doctor, who was really, really nice, and they basically said, we don't have an option, we need to, it's either that, I did debate about sending a home nurse, but I would need too much care, and I need someone to check me out. So, jumped in my parents' car, well, didn't jump, hobbled into my parents' car.
Slowly
went up the stairs and got my breath back 3 times, and came down here to the hospital where we are now. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if we can pause this for a minute.
Yeah.
And I can ask my brother if he can get me a shot. This may not be in the edit. I don't know what he's going to do with the edit, but we just had a visit from one of my many wonderful nurses. So just give me a fentanyl booster to make it to the end of the show. My wonderful brother just brought me 2 more hot packs, which I've installed behind my back, which should help.
Awesome sauce is coursing through your veins.
The awesome sauce, I can feel it as I hit the camera.
That's all right.
But so that should help make it to the end, and it's rather nice. Because why not? Where am I? Oh yes. Vomit pain, vomit pain, vomit pain, it said again.
Is that enough amounts of vomit pain?
Yeah.
All right, so 3 each.
That's about it.
Fair.
But so I got back to the hospital. This is now 6 days ago. First, very happy. I had an empty room, so I was like, ooh, no neighbor. But they explained to me that it was actually my neighbor's room. He just happened to be in intensive care, so they were keeping it for him. But I had the room to myself for the first night. They said he could come at any time, and they really meant it because they rolled him in at 4 in the morning the next night. Mm-hmm. When I was fast asleep, and rolled him in. But lucky for me, he's been pretty calm, keeps to himself kind of neighbor.
I have jokes, but I'm not going to say them.
Exactly. I don't like making jokes about actual people. But he was pretty nice all in all.
Yeah.
He's just told us that he's left his lunch plate for Andreas.
Nice.
Somewhere in there. Which you had his lunch plate yesterday as well,
I did.
Was it any good?
It was all right.
It was all right.
It feels really wrong to steal food from a patient at a hospital, but
As far as hospital food goes, it's pretty good.
It's very nice. Surprisingly tasty.
Yeah, that was I was in here, and then things started to, the ball got rolling, but like a snowball of hell that just got worse and worse. Mm-hmm. So more and more vomiting. It was basically constant nausea, but semi-nausea, and then the vomit could just come on its own out of nowhere, which was not much fun, as you can certainly imagine. And then they decided to add in also a catheter.
Which is always a winner.
To help me pee. Because, that's again part of the problem here, they pump you up with so much drugs, and the drugs have side effects like everything else, and they gotta start working with side effects. Morphine, which they gave me before the fentanyl, one of the big ones is it's an anti-diuretic, I think you say? Mm-hmm. It stops you from peeing.
Correct.
And so they had to put this catheter in, which I don't know if any of you guys have had one, if you've had one.
Happily, no.
And you probably don't know exactly how it works, but you probably don't if I were to tell you you're getting one in an hour, you probably wouldn't be thrilled.
Correct.
Which is what happened. And I was happy the nurse that gave it to me was my very first nurse at the hospital here I had last year.
Call back.
A male nurse. And which is funny because this colleague asked me first, who was my actual nurse for the day was a female nurse. And she said, yeah, we're going to put this catheter in about half an hour. Would you like me to do it? Or would you rather would you be more comfortable with a male nurse doing it to you? Mm-hmm. So what would be your answer to that question?
I would say neither, but I'm a pessimist. So you probably said something else.
Well, I said, who's done it the most often? Uh-huh. I wanted experience over it. I don't care if it's a woman or a man. So it was the male nurse had been here longer. So he came, and then it's again, I didn't watch what he was doing.
That makes sense.
And he sort of explained, and I don't know, it felt like he was unrolling a sock over something. Kind of. And then I thought, think of other things. He told me, try and think of a happy place that you are. I was like, yeah, why would somebody be unrolling a sock over my dick if I was in a happy place? That sort of immediately disqualifies this place from being a happy place.
That's true.
But it was surprisingly less of an ordeal than I expected. It went pretty quickly, and then he had it in. The problem is, once it's in, it's not like, there we go, done. Ever since then, this is like 5 days ago, mm-hmm. I always feel like I have to urinate.
Which is a pleasant feeling.
When you have relief coming soon after.
It's me trying to be funny, by the way. I'm failing. I'm failing.
Okay. No, it's not that great pleasant feeling. And you'll have the same thing, when, even more so in the winter, but when you have to really pee and you're running home, uh-huh. And the closer you get to the bathroom, the closer you feel like you're about to explode.
Yeah.
But also the closer you feel like you're about to get that moment of sit down or stand up.
Sweet relief.
The sweet relief of urine. And so the crescendo of that comes, and then you finally get to the toilet and you feel like you're half a second from that relief, and nothing happens.
That's horrible.
It's horrible. And plus I found out after that even if it did happen, because it feels like your bladder is full, uh-huh. I only have like 15 milliliters of urine in it. So it wouldn't be that satisfying a pee anyway.
But you have discovered something because we realized that by having a catheter or a fake catheter, you can smuggle alcohol into festivals.
We did see this bag, because the way it works, I'm not going to pull my pants down.
No.
But I've got a sort of balloon inflated in my stuff. Mm-hmm. And then I've got a tube that goes down here to a bag. And the very end of the bag looks like the same kind of thing you have on the end of a boxed wine or
like a
Exactly. So it would be perfect to smuggle alcohol into a party. Yeah. Or to smuggle urine into a party if that's your thing.
I thought that's why you have a bladder, but sure, extra additional piss to the party.
It'll work.
It's a pee party.
I did find it very funny. I don't know if you know I don't know what it's like in Norwegian. In French, you have different cases of you. You have the vous.
Uh-huh.
If you don't know the person well or you're being polite, and you have tu to friends. And so this nurse that did put the catheter in, he finished, then looked at me and said, I think we can say tu now, can't we?
So that's basically, we're now buddies.
Exactly, we're now buddies. And I said, yeah, I think that's right. Uh-huh. And so after this, it was a period of scans and tests. They gave me a scanner of the back of another part of it.
And this was last week?
This is last week. I can't tell you exactly who did what when, because after a year, it's getting complicated to remember what's been done, what test, by who, at what time, what the results were. So
you've had about 1 billion tests.
I had about 1 billion tests, and here they did the test of the top part of my neck and my head, uh-huh. And I got a scan of my brain, and this is
Do you know the reason why they did that?
They wanted to see if I had one.
And what was the conclusion? No?
No.
No,
I do know the reason. The reason is that I still had this nausea that continued, uh-huh. And they had an inkling of an idea of what could be causing that. Uh-huh. And sadly, their answer was right. Because I've been saying for a few episodes that it gets complicated. I every time I think I see the light at the tunnel, they add another bit of tunnel.
Yeah.
Well, now I can see the end of the tunnel. And I know it's the end of the tunnel. It feels dramatic to say this, but that's what it is. Basically what happened is the scan of the brain showed I had 5 parts of the tumor that metastasized into my brain. One of them a very big one. And that is what's causing the
nausea.
Yeah. It's what they figured. It causes liquid around it, and it can give a imbalance of something or other. I think hypotension in your brain, and it causes nausea, and that's what it is. And so the first thought is, okay, well, let's get those metastasis out of there. But they've now realized that at this point, the tumor is no longer treatable. There's nothing they can do that's going to make the tumor better. I was supposed to have 3 more rounds of chemo like I did. I didn't react well. I won't be doing them. Because basically anything like that they would do now, I would just get more and more side effects of the chemo or side effects of the drugs that would be greater than any positive effects that the chemo could be having on the actual tumor. So yeah, it's sad to say, but the tumor itself now, nothing can do to stop it. It's too big, it's too aggressive, it's too violent. It's attacking, and it's going to kill me.
Yeah.
Now make a joke.
That's really hard. I was really hoping the tunnel building crew wasn't going to win.
Me as well. And so this was hard news to take. I have, my WhatsApp group where I share a bit what's going on to everybody. I had to write in that yesterday and basically tell people this, which was the hardest message for me to write. And I know it was hard for people to read as well. Of course, I mentioned that in there. I was like, yeah, I'm about to ruin everybody's breakfast with this news because, now I still haven't asked, how long do I have?
Because they don't know, right? It could be
They don't know, but he did say we could start getting big complications within weeks.
Yeah.
And by big complications, it means maybe being in a coma again, the ICU kind of thing. It's that I've got to start thinking about how far do I want them to go? Because that's true. I don't want them to just keep on going. If it's to give me an extra week of nausea and throwing up and pain, what's the point? If it's something that's actually gonna make my life better, because that's the next step now. Is it's not that they're gonna give up. It's not that they're saying, well, we can't get the tumor. Good luck, Mr. Barnes. They're gonna go to palliative care, which is work on the symptoms. And there's an excellent facility up in the hills near La Chaux-de-Fonds where I'll be going to soon, where that's their speciality is taking care, managing your pain, managing your nausea, making it so that you can live normally.
As normal as
possible. They're trying. That's why they're trying to deal with this fentanyl. Once they get the good dose, I'll be able to use patches where they just. I don't know the details. I have to meet them first, but as I understand it, it's basically slap a patch on, and then I could go out for the afternoon with somebody, go do something, and be fine, and not need to have constant care behind me. But that's we'll see. I shall find out in the coming days, because things obviously have to go fast. Because it sounds weird to say, but I don't have many left, even if it's a question of weeks or months.
Yeah.
Which I think I've taken quite well. I didn't expect to get good news. I didn't necessarily expect to get the news saying, here we are, next stop, last stop. But that's kind of what it is.
It is.
And, but I'm greatly surrounded, and I feel I've just got to, I don't want to spend whatever time I have left lamenting the fact that I don't have much left and waste it by thinking about, oh, it's going to be horrible. Which is easier to say right now when the pain is more or less under control. Because that makes such a difference. When there's no pain, I can imagine, having an okay day.
We had a wonderful day yesterday.
I was just about to get that. Yesterday was the best day in eons. Because Nicola, who you can't see but we mentioned, who's running around us, well, he's not. He's just standing there, actually. But he's assisting us. And he suddenly said he came to see me yesterday, as he does most days. And we were having a drink behind. There's a beautiful little garden.
It was sunny all day.
It was sunny all day. And he said, why don't you have an apéro? Why don't we do drinks? And so I put a couple of messages in, and within an hour we had, 12 people, 15 people?
Yeah.
Came and hung out. And I had to bring Philippe with me, of course, otherwise he would have run out of batteries. So my brother went and borrowed every single extension cord on my floor.
Your brother is some sort of superhero.
Yeah. But literally, I hadn't even realized we had the problem yet. He had seen a plug in the corner that we could plug it in. Yeah. He went up and said, hey, do you have extension cords? They gave him 1.51 meters. He saw the drawer and he said, "Can I just take everything?" And he literally had 30 meters of it set up, probably.
So you were outside, or we were outside for about 7 hours, something like that.
I would even say like 9 hours
maybe,
in the sun.
Maybe even more.
I was mostly in the shade. My dad went and got beer and wine for everybody.
Apart from you.
Apart from me. I did ask because it was sunny. I was outside with friends. I kind of wanted a beer. And I was allowed to, at least until after the last chemos. I had it in writing that I was allowed to drink small quantities of alcohol. But then I figured, I'm on a new drug, I'll ask. And I phoned, well, my mom phoned, which felt kind of funny at 40. Asking your mom to go ask the doctor, can I have a beer? And he said, you can have a sip, but it will react badly with the... So I didn't have a sip, because what's the point of having a sip of beer unless it's the 1000th?
That's true.
A very nice thing was one of my very old friends, who we've mentioned in the show before, because he was the German who likes our Nazi jokes.
Yes.
He's not a Nazi, though.
The jury's out on that.
And he works here at the hospital, and saw my brother by chance, and so he came out for the drinks. And I'd completely forgotten last week I was supposed to have a drink with him. And I just completely forgot, and he probably sent me a message, but some days I get overwhelmed with tons of messages of people and I want to answer, but I don't want to just answer yes, so I'm like, I'll answer later when I have time, and then you end up with 20. And it's a bit complicated. I know that everybody understands, and I've told them. Sometimes I'm just going to ignore it. But anyway, I forgot to go to the drinks with him, and he waited for an hour. And I liked what he said. He waited there, sitting there thinking, I hope he's an asshole and not that something's happened to him. So luckily, yeah, I'm an asshole.
We'll deal with that.
But I did think of one thing, because somebody mentioned, I don't know, it might have been you. Do you have a bucket list of things you want to do?
Yeah, we discussed it.
We all know what a bucket list is, right?
I don't know if they do. It's a list of things to do before you pass on.
Before you kick the bucket.
Yeah.
The title comes from a pretty bad movie.
Is that where it's from? The Jack Nicholson movie?
Or maybe the other way around.
It must be older than that.
I guess it must be the other way. It's a pretty, but I figured I'm sort of, you're Jack Nicholson. You look like Jack Nicholson.
I do.
And I sound like Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
But the idea of bucket list of things you want to do before you don't. And I obviously can't make a complicated one. I'm not going to go jump off a cliff or go skydiving. You gave me a good suggestion, was what was something I really want to eat that I haven't. And so maybe my brother will be making me some Wagyu beef.
Yeah, that looks like it's going to happen.
And I think this would be the perfect time to suggest to we haven't even thanked our audience for watching. If you've made it through this far in this harsh episode.
Thank you for watching.
But if you have any ideas of simple, nice things to add to my bucket list, why don't you tell me? And they have to be short things, because I don't know the time I have left. I don't want something that's going to take me 3 days. So it's more, I know I want to go up and have a nice either meal or drinks with my mom somewhere in the mountains or the hills with a nice view. I know I want to go eat at my favorite restaurant.
The Cardinal.
Exactly.
The Cardinal.
The Cardinal at least once more. I know I want to have a brunch at Camille's. So they're all simple things, but even that, doing them all might be complicated.
The important thing, though, is being around the people you care about.
Absolutely. That's why yesterday was nothing special in one sense.
It was super special.
No, but I mean, just on paper, it was sit around a table in the backyard of the hospital and have a drink. And it could easily have been at the top of my bucket list, actually, if I think about it now. Because it was a great, great afternoon, and it made me feel good. All the nurses and doctors were really happy for me that I could have a nice time. Like, no, go back outside, enjoy it. We're thrilled that you can. And so that's the kind of things I want. It will be anything I do will involve sitting around with friends, I think.
Yeah. Overall, this is all horrible, of course. But the fact that you get a chance to properly say goodbye is very nice, even though it's sad.
That's the idea. It is weird when people have written me, because I wrote to my people in my group to give them this news, and then got tons of replies, obviously, of people saying, I don't know what to say, I don't have the words, and then they all found beautiful words. I spent half the day crying yesterday because of pain, and the other day just because of the really touching messages I get from friends, from people that I know and love, and that it just shines through even more.
Yeah.
I got some really, really nice ones. One of my old radio colleagues from Ben, was probably the most touching one. She was a wonderful colleague that I love to work with. And then it's weird finishing these messages with, I hope we're able to meet. I hope we can find a time to meet up, because like if we don't, within a month or two, you may just have to rewatch the podcast to watch me. So his job was to make jokes in this episode. He did say it was going to be hard.
It's really hard.
And he's not passing for the moment.
I'm failing miserably, but I can deal with that. I have to say on behalf of everyone who's watching who wants to say it, that the fact that you're still doing this at this point, even though apparently you said that in episode 1, rumor has it that you said you were going to do this until the end, whatever that meant, which is a year and a half ago-ish. But the fact that you're doing this is amazing, and we all thank you for that.
Yeah, it was always the point, and it would have, I mean, anybody who has cancer will deal with it differently. So I wouldn't say somebody else in my situation should do this, but I decided at the beginning that I wanted to try and take it as far as possible and share my story and not stop sharing when it got hard, which it's now most definitely hard.
Yeah.
I mentioned that I cry a lot and stuff, but I look emotionally okay now. Most of the time feel it, but it is rough.
Yeah.
It is rough, and I'm glad to continue, and that's what I'm hoping. I was saying to even maybe do, I'm just saying because we never know, because it's been a month since the last episode. It sometimes takes a while. That was obviously for my health reasons. My idea is maybe we'll do shorter episodes from now on.
Yeah.
And more of them, hopefully. But like 10, 15 minutes. I don't know if that seems okay to you listeners and watchers.
I don't think they're in a position to make any demands.
I'm just trying to get them to interact with the YouTube page. Get some connections going to get clicks.
That's true. We really, really, really want you to both comment, send nice messages, and, share. Both the charity store and leave a message.
Buy a sweater for your mom.
Yeah.
Check her balls. No, mostly check your balls, once more. We've said that a lot. I don't know if we said it in the last episodes, but had I been more vigilant on that, I probably wouldn't be here. It's the sad thing to say. If I noticed it sooner, I probably wouldn't be here. So you don't want to be in this position. Check your balls soon.
That's true, but I had a conversation with your mom this morning, and she said that even though testicular cancer is considered good cancer because it's highly treatable, it very often leads to metastasizing because guys don't take it serious.
Absolutely.
And you've had all the fucking bad luck in the world in terms of it spreading everywhere and anywhere.
Yep. And it went in the order that it usually goes.
Yeah. Me and my stupid brain, I was like, how can it spread to his brain? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Nothing makes any sense. But the fact that it's ravaged your body, unfortunately.
But that's again the weird thing. And like when we were sitting outside all day yesterday, or even now, I've got some back pain, sure, but the fentanyl is getting out of control. And other than that, I do not feel like there's this giant monster eating at me from inside.
Which is great. And you get some moments of relief.
Absolutely. It just feels weird to know that I was sitting outside on the balcony last night with myself before going to bed. And just thinking this thing is there and doing its job and eating away. And it doesn't feel like it, but it's gonna win.
It's gonna win, unfortunately. That means I'm gonna work twice as hard, and everyone else is gonna help me to get this cancer awareness out.
You're gonna have to do at some point, I guess. I hope and I imagine our listeners will enjoy, if that's the right word. You'll have to do at least one more solo episode, I guess, at some point.
Yeah.
Which I thank you for doing, because it really is meant a lot having you next to me for this whole thing. I wouldn't have been able to do it, and I can only imagine how hard it must be, and thinking about how hard it's gonna get.
I mean, it's been an honor. I'm not saying that to look cool, but it's just in terms of helping out with that and seeing the impression it's made on people. Not for my sake, obviously, but just being able to help has been great. I was going to say the show must go on. That's wrong, but it's. I will carry on the having a ball thing.
I know. I'm sorry, I managed to usually not cry in the episode, and I'm not doing it for the episode.
Nothing wrong with crying.
It's hard.
It's really hard.
And that's what makes it easier. I can't think about the end. I know it's here. I gotta think about now, still continue doing it one day at a time, and we can get a few more episodes. And as I said, if one guy gets diagnosed early enough and doesn't go through what I'm going through, that would make me really happy.
We'll pull that off, definitely.
Whether he's wearing a Having a Ball t-shirt or not.
Hopefully he checks his balls before he buys a t-shirt.
That's true.
But yeah, no, it's surreal. I don't know what to say. I haven't known what... I got on the first plane when you told me.
Yeah, that too meant a lot to me. And he means that like literally. When we found out how bad it got, he was here the next day standing in my room making jokes.
Yeah, that feels weird. But and you also make jokes. So.
Well, yeah, I make weird jokes, and some people are getting fed up with the jokes. And like, could be worse, you could have cancer. Which were funny when I made them a year ago. But I guess not quite so funny now.
Yeah. So even though you've been drenched, that's not the word, drenched. No, been it's swamped with messages. Still send some messages.
Send some messages, and again, every single message means a lot to me. Whether it's a comment on YouTube, it's a message to my WhatsApp group, it's a personal message. I don't always answer right away because it's just a lot sometimes. Yeah. All these nice, even just reading them in a row can be hard, and trying to find the words, and I don't want to shortchange people and just write thanks.
Yeah, they understand.
But then I still do. But yeah, they understand.
Yeah. We have to mention your family, by the way, as well.
My family, I vaguely mentioned before, but yeah, they've been amazing. Of course, as always, been here since day one. They drove me here. They spend the day here from 9 in the morning till 12, no, not 12 at night. 9 in the morning till 9 at night, getting everything I need. If it's something I want to eat, if it's something I want to drink, if it's something from home, if I need space, because other friends are coming to visit, they'll back off. And they're amazing. My brother, I already knew this, but
he's next level.
He does the logistical stuff before I realize I've got to solve something.
He's basically running the hospital now.
Kind of, yeah.
Without getting paid.
He did have someone ask him recently, excuse me, sir, what are you doing running into that room? He's like, I'm just going to heat the hot packs for my brother. I'm like, what? Uh-huh. He said, no, it's okay, I'm allowed.
Yeah, and he organized with this room and everything.
Absolutely, and he brings me the food I want at the right time and the drinks I need. And yeah, as I said, they're very nice at the hospital. They're being very flexible with the visiting hours as well, because normally it's like from, I don't know, let's say 2 to 5 or 11 to 5. Mm-hmm. And they've been here all day. We've had more people than allowed in the room. So yeah, there's lots of positive sides, as much as I try to take them when I can. And then there's the fact that I have a bag of pee hanging on my leg and I've got to empty, which is less positive.
That is less positive. Everyone is amazed at your positivity, even though it's been dark periods. And there's a lot of dark periods, but still an inspiration. So I have to say that.
Thank you. It means a lot. I think it means we might be getting to the end of this episode. We want to keep some darkness for the next one.
We'll try to make more episodes, but like I said yesterday, if we do that, that's a bonus.
Every episode from now on is a bonus, yeah. Exactly. But there will be at least one more in any case with just him, if worse came to worse.
Yeah, I might have to just turn that into a greatest hits episode.
Or do whatever you want. I'm not going to be there to get mad at you. So do whatever the hell you want.
So yeah.
Make the last episode a musical for all I care.
I did that the last time.
That's true.
And what happened when I started singing? You got some really bad news, so I'm not going to sing anymore.
Maybe a good point.
Let's do the last plug then. Buy merch, share, like, spread, all that stuff. Send him a message.
Please do.
Use the YouTube comment field. This is your chance to say what you want to say.
It has really been a blast doing this and getting, I think you said it already, but getting feedback from people. It's really made my last year easier.
Very fascinating to meet all your friends, and everyone keeps saying the same thing. They're like, I know you better than you know me. So that's nice.
That's true. They've all watched dozens of hours of you.
It is not cool. That's not the right word, but it's very nice that you leave that legacy, though. People will be able to listen to you over and over again.
Absolutely.
Both in terms of talking about hard stuff, but they can also watch the episodes where we're just ranting about stupid pop cultural references.
Absolutely.
And that has encapsulated you in a perfect way.
You can, at the end, maybe re-edit the whole show as just a whole happy thing. Much shorter, but there's no bad news. It's just a few jokes when Hitler pops up once in a while.
Surprising amount of Hitler jokes.
Yeah.
So it's moron. We've mentioned the word moron 1,000 times.
Funnily enough, I never mention this because I don't want to mention people's names, but one of my doctors in the Shuv was called Mo, so Dr. Moron.
That's funny.
And another one of my doctors was called Juma. So I did have dumbass and moron as two of my doctors. Which sounds pretty good.
So this is an audio-visual medium, so we're not spelling it, so we can say it out loud.
No, exactly. They'll maybe recognize themselves. I know Dr. Moron was watching, and I know he's far from a moron. That's what I would like to say. He was a really great doctor, and my doctors here are still in touch with him. Both moron and dumbass are good people.
All right. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, do I do that? This is getting more fitting but more cynical of to be continued.